Greetings, seekers of truth, and a warm welcome to the Morale. Have you ever stopped to deeply consider how the enigmatic machine inside your skull actually functions? Why is it that some people seem to grasp complex concepts instantly, while others take time to understand the very same thing? Why do we remember some moments in an instant, vividly and forever, yet forget others even after reading them repeatedly? All these questions lie at the very heart of the masterpiece we are exploring today, Brain Rules by Dr. John Medina. Brain Rules reveals to us that our brain is far more powerful than any supercomputer in existence, but at the same time, it is incredibly sensitive. Dr. John Medina is a molecular biologist who has dedicated his entire life to unraveling the mysteries of the human mind. His thesis is simple yet profound. If we truly learn how our brain learns, thinks, and remembers, we can improve in absolutely every area of our life, whether it is our work, our studies, or our relationships. Dr. Medina argues that if we correctly understand the rules of our brain, every single person is capable of delivering extraordinary performance. In this book, he presents 12 specific principles, which he calls brain rules. Each rule teaches us how to use our brain in a more effective, optimized way. These rules cover exercise, sleep, memory, attention, emotions, learning, and stress, everything that directly impacts our daily existence. Let's begin this journey now. Rule number 1: exercise boosts brain power. Dr. Medina begins with a powerful insight. Our brain has evolved in such a way that it works best with a body that is always in motion. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors spent their time walking, running, and engaging in intense physical labor to survive. Back then, the body and the brain were partners in motion. But today, we spend most of our time sedentary, sitting on chairs, hunched over computers and mobile phones, which makes our brain sluggish and lethargic. He explains that when we do even a little exercise daily, new neurons are physically created in the brain, and blood flow increases significantly. This biological boost directly enhances our thinking and comprehension abilities. Research consistently shows that people who walk, run, or engage in any kind of physical activity daily possess memory and creativity levels several times better than those who sit all day. This is why exercise is the most essential fuel, not just for the body, but for the brain itself. Medina himself conducted experiments showing that when students took short walks in between classes, their attention and memory retention both soared. Therefore, his advice is clear. Every person should remain active in some form for at least 30 minutes a day. Whether it is walking, cycling, or light jogging, remember this: when the body moves, the brain blossoms. Rule number 2: survival. This rule states that our brain is fundamentally built for survival. Dr. Medina explains that the human brain is the result of millions of years of an evolutionary journey. Our brain taught us to survive in an environment where danger was lurking everywhere. Therefore, it learned to prioritize recognizing fear, planning for safety, and showing creativity in crisis. He states that our brain's primary purpose is to keep us alive, and that is why our brain pays strict attention to things that connect us to danger or reward. The lesson we must take from this rule is vital. If we want to remember something, we need to connect it to an experience or an emotion. Information devoid of emotion is slippery. It slides right off the brain. But when we feel something, the brain stores it deeply and doesn't forget it for a long time. This is why stories are the ultimate way to teach anything, because a story carries emotion, and emotion is the native language of the brain. Rule number 3: attention. Here, Dr. Medina shatters a modern myth: multitasking. He states bluntly that our brain is simply not built for multitasking. We can only focus fully on one thing at a time. When we try to do many things at once, our brain isn't doing them simultaneously. It is switching repeatedly between them. Each switch tires us out, drains our energy, reduces productivity, and weakens memory. He argues that if we want to understand something correctly, we must give it uninterrupted attention. Furthermore, Medina found that the human attention span naturally drifts or breaks every 10 minutes. Therefore, whenever one studies or conducts a meeting, attention should be reawakened every 10 minutes with a story, an example, or a compelling question. Only then is the information remembered for the long term. Rule number 4: sleep. Sleep is not just a time for rest, it is the most essential biological process for the brain. Medina explains that while we sleep, our brain is furiously active. It organizes all the information from the day, cementing the important memories and erasing the noise. If you don't sleep properly, your brain the next day functions as if a thick fog has been cast over it. Your thinking speed slows down, your memory weakens, and your mood remains poor. He states that people who get a full night's sleep every day have brains that work significantly faster. Their creativity and problem-solving abilities increase because sleep is a kind of cleansing for the brain, removing old data to make space for new insights. Therefore, if anyone says that one can be more productive by sleeping less, they are only harming themselves. Rule number 5: stress. A little bit of acute stress is necessary because it keeps us alert and ready. However, Dr. Medina warns that when stress persists for a long time, it becomes poison. Chronic stress damages the hippocampus, the specific part of the brain responsible for memory. Chronic stress reduces our ability to think and learn, and it weakens our decision-making skills. Therefore, if you want to keep your brain sharp, you must learn to manage stress. For this, exercise, meditation, and cultivating a positive outlook are the most effective neuroprotective strategies. Now, pause and think about how simple all these rules seem, yet their impact touches every part of our lives. If you walk daily, sleep well, work attentively without multitasking, and manage your stress, your brain will function like a supercomputer. Rule number 6: wiring. This rule teaches us that every brain structure is different. Medina asserts that no two brains on Earth are alike. Every person's brain is wired differently based on their unique life. This means the method that works for one person is not necessarily effective for another. This is why two people can hear the exact same message, yet their brains understand it in completely different ways. Consequently, there cannot be one single perfect way of teaching and learning that fits everyone. He explains that every person's brain is physically shaped by their experiences. The things we see, hear, and do every day give new form to our neurons. Our brain is a living system that keeps changing every moment. This offers great hope. If a person wants to improve themselves, they can always do so, because the brain has the ability to physically change itself. This concept is called neuroplasticity. Medina explains that when we repeat something over and over, our brain creates new physical pathways for that task, and the task starts to feel easier. Practice truly does make perfect. If you want to become proficient in anything, you must keep practicing it consistently to wire it into your mind. Rule number 7: memory. Dr. Medina teaches us that our brain does not store information like a hard drive. Rather, it pieces it together and binds it with meaning. When we connect a fact to an emotion or a story, that point is remembered for a long time. But if we just memorize by rote, that information is quickly forgotten. He suggests that the best way to strengthen memory is through repetition and spaced learning, meaning repeating information at intervals. If we repeat a piece of information periodically, the brain turns it into a deep, long-term memory. Therefore, he advises schools and learners to emphasize repetition and connection to real-world examples rather than mindless rote learning. Medina also notes that the brain is designed to forget. If we remembered every trivial detail, the brain would become burdened and inefficient. So, it only remembers what matters to us. To remember something, you must make it meaningful. Rule number 8: sensory integration. This rule explains that our senses work together. Medina says our brain doesn't understand the world just through eyes or ears, rather, it combines all these senses to create a unified experience. For example, when you see a flower, the brain doesn't just recognize its shape, it simultaneously associates its fragrance, its color, and its texture. He argues that if we involve multiple senses while teaching or learning, memory retention increases greatly. For instance, if students learn by seeing, listening, and doing, they almost never forget the point. Therefore, a blend of visuals, sound, and experience is crucial for deep learning. Dr. Medina explains that visuals are far more powerful than text. He notes that if people only hear words, they remember only about 10% of the information after 3 days. But if the same point is shown with pictures, memory retention increases to 65%. This is why whatever we want to understand or teach should always have a visual element. Rule number 9. Vision. Vision is the dominant sense for humans. A massive part of our brain is dedicated solely to understanding visual input. When we see something, that image goes directly to the part of our brain that influences thinking and memory. This is why visuals have the most profound impact. Medina advises that if you are giving a presentation or explaining an idea, show it in pictures, not just words. What the brain sees gets imprinted deeply and lasts a long time. Medina calls this the "see it to remember it" principle. Rule number 10. Music. Dr. Medina states that music influences the language of the brain. Listening to music changes our mood, increases focus, and activates creativity. He found that children who learn music often possess better mathematical and linguistic abilities than children who stay away from it, because music bridges the different hemispheres of the brain. He notes that if we perform a task with music, our focus and energy can increase. However, every person's musical response is different. The music that calms one person might make another restless. Therefore, we should carefully choose the music that aligns with our mood and aids our focus. Rule number 11. Gender. Here, Medina approaches the differences between male and female brains with scientific precision. He says that male and female brains are not the same. Both have equal capacities, but they process information in different ways. For example, the male brain tends to become more analytical and withdrawn in stressful situations, while the female brain often responds by seeking emotional connection and balance. This is why decision-making styles often differ. Medina emphasizes that this difference is not a weakness. It is the beauty of the brain. It creates balance in society. If we work together understanding these differences, both our creativity and our collective understanding increase. Rule number 12. Exploration. This final rule is about our innate tendency to explore. Medina says humans are born explorers. A child learns to walk, falls, and then gets up again because their brain is wired for learning and seeking new experiences. Curiosity is the rocket fuel of our brain. When we ask questions about something, our brain becomes active and starts making new connections. If you pay attention, you will find that the human brain is unique. It changes every moment and reshapes itself through its experiences. If a person understands that they have limitless power within, they can push themselves forward in any situation. The deeper implications. The brain is not just a thinking machine, it is the center of our emotions and actions. Dr. Medina says that if the brain is given the right direction, it can learn new things at any age. Age is never a barrier. The real difference is made by your habit of remaining curious. A person who wants to learn something new every day never grows old. But the person who thinks they know everything, their brain stops growing right there. Continuous learning is what keeps the brain alive. Now think, when we start our day, the brain has already largely decided what the day will be like. If your morning mood is good, the whole day feels light and productive. If the brain feels heavy, everything feels burdensome. The reason is that our mindset determines the direction of our day. Medina says we should give our brain positive signals every day, because the brain repeats whatever we teach it. If we teach it fear and worry, that will grow. If we teach it enthusiasm and gratitude, that same energy will return to our lives. The brain runs on a reward system. When we do something good and praise ourselves, the brain releases a chemical called dopamine. This makes us happy and inspires us to do more. This is why it is very important to appreciate yourself for every small achievement. This habit keeps the brain active and protects it from negative thinking. Another fascinating insight from Medina is that the brain also needs silence. It needs moments when we don't think, don't do, and just exist in quiet. When we are quiet, the brain listens to its inner voice, which continuously guides us. These are the moments when creativity blossoms the most. Therefore, spend a little time every day connecting with yourself. Only when you go within can you see the outside world correctly. Now let's talk about relationships. Medina explains that our brain is fundamentally social. It does not like to be alone. A large part of the brain is dedicated to understanding others and recognizing their emotions. When we talk to someone with a sincere heart, a hormone called oxytocin is released, giving us a feeling of connection and safety. This is why genuine relationships heal the brain, while fake relationships tire it out. If you notice, when someone listens to you with a true heart, you feel a sense of lightness. When someone listens just for show, the brain becomes uncomfortable. Our brain recognizes the truth of emotions. This is why Medina says, treat others the way you want to be treated. The brain feels others' emotions through mirror neurons. What you give is what you get back. Regarding focus, Medina says our attention goes where our heart is. If a task seems meaningless, the brain cannot hold on to it for long. If you want to succeed at something, first connect that work to your heart. Make it your mission. When the brain considers a goal meaningful, it doesn't give up. In today's era, our attention faces its biggest challenge. Notifications, noise, and constant information overload tire the brain. Medina advises that if you want to keep your brain strong, spend some time each day in digital silence, without any screens. This is when your brain recharges itself. We now come to the point that is the soul of this entire book. The greatest power for the brain is wonder. When we see something and are amazed, the brain opens up. Its curiosity awakens. Children learn quickly because they look at everything with fresh eyes. As we grow up, we lose that perspective. Medina urges us to reawaken the curiosity of a child. Try to see everything in a new way. Conclusion. Now imagine if we incorporate all these things into our lives, what difference would it make? If we keep our body moving, value sleep, manage stress, and keep learning, we will not only become more intelligent, but also more peaceful and balanced individuals. This is the true beauty of the brain. It is not just an organ for sharp thinking. It shows us the way to live a balanced life. Medina repeatedly says that the right way to use the brain is to give of love, meaning, and purpose. When we do something with love, the brain immerses itself completely, and time seems to stop. He calls this state flow. In flow, a person becomes one with their work. It requires no effort and no fatigue. This is when the brain works at its highest form. Imagine if everyone started living by understanding their brain like this. Children would be happier, learning in schools would feel like play. Working people would see their office not as a burden, but as an opportunity. Understanding in relationships would increase because people would truly feel each other. Brain Rules is not just about scientific facts. It is a reminder that humans have forgotten the power within themselves. We keep updating the machines outside, but we often ignore our real machine, the brain. If we start taking care of our brain, our life will automatically improve. We become what we repeatedly tell our brain. So, if you want your thinking to gain depth, your memory to improve, and your creativity to unfold, first befriend your brain. Understand it, give it time. Because when the brain is happy, the whole life blossoms. We are all searching for success, peace, or understanding outside, while the real treasure is hidden within us, in our brain. This very brain gives us the power to think, dream, and move forward. John Medina's brain rules reminds us that if we understand the nature of our brain and live accordingly, we will become not only wiser, but more human. The true meaning of intelligence lies not just in thinking, but in understanding and feeling. Therefore, now is the time to fill our brain not just with information, but with experience. Connect it not just with work, but with meaning. Finally, Brain Rules is not an ordinary book. It teaches us what it means to be human. It reminds us that we are not just beings, we are thoughts, we are consciousness. So think good thoughts, feel good, live with truth, and build a relationship with your brain that leads you to become a better person every day. When you understand your brain, you understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, the whole world starts making sense to you. So friends, these were the wonderful ideas of John Medina, which remind us that our brain is a miracle. It shapes every moment of our thinking, our feeling, and our living. If we understand it, we can steer our life in any direction. Remember, real change doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. When you befriend your brain, the world starts working in your favor. Therefore, from today, value your brain, make it move, give it rest, and teach it how to live life wholeheartedly. If this video has touched your thoughts, please like it from the heart and share it with others so that more people can recognize the power within themselves. And if you want such deep and thought-provoking content, please subscribe to The Morale. We will continue to connect you with the ideas of such inspiring books in the future. Write in the comments, "My brain is my greatest companion." Let this be a belief that reminds you every day that you have infinite possibilities within. It is just a matter of awakening them.